We've gotten 5 Piranha movies over the years, so let's take a look back and rank them. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a good one today. I'm the movie ranker, and today I'm going to be ranking all 5 Piranha movies from worst to best. Funny thing about this franchise, a lot of people don't even realize there's 5 movies. They know about the original and the remake, maybe the Double D one, but you know, it's not a really well-known franchise if you ask me. But before we get into it, make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future rankings. And let's get into it. So easily in last place for me is Piranha 2: The Spawning from 1981. Wow. Before The Terminator, before Avatar, Titanic, Aliens, James Cameron started out by directing this piece of trash. He didn't write it, he just directed it. But yeah, you have to start somewhere, I guess. And funny enough, a lot of the underwater scenes look pretty terrible in here too with the lighting and that, which Cameron has become a master at nowadays. The story is dull, the characters are dull, the effects are pretty bad. There's not too many redeemable qualities in this flick. Even the piranha themselves are just so ridiculous. They have wings in this movie and they can like breathe out of water and stuff. And they're like flying around. They almost look like giant moths or like locusts or something. I was like, what the hell am I watching? This is supposed to be a piranha movie. But the movie's biggest problem is not that it's really ridiculous. It's the fact that it takes itself very seriously and doesn't try to have fun with its flying piranhas or wherever. It takes it dead seriously, which it's like, come on, this is just so bonkers and ridiculous. And it just makes for a really bad flick. Now, coming in at number 4, we got Piranha from 1995. This is a TV movie, sometimes known as Piranhas. This was, in the 90s, they were like reviving all the Roger Corman movies and different adaptations, I guess, into TV. So they decided to redo Piranha. And this is pretty much a shot-for-shot remake of the original. There's very minor differences. It's like 90% the exact same movie, just with different characters which aren't quite as likable as the original, and neither of the effects aren't quite as good either. It is really cool to see Mila Kunis in this film. This is her first role, I believe. She's just a little kid in this. But most importantly, this lacks Joe Dante's directing style. It feels very bland compared to the original. It's a lot more straightforward because you know what's coming. It's not a terrible movie by any means, but it is kind of pointless, and I'll probably never revisit it because if I want to watch this, I'll just rewatch the original. Now, coming into number 3, we got Piranha 3 Double D from 2012. This is a sequel to the 2010 remake, and boy, is this shit crazy. Like, it's not a great movie. It's definitely probably a bad movie, but it's really entertaining. I'll give it that. Like, the movie opens with Gary Busey witnessing a dead cow with piranha eggs coming out of its arsehole. You're like, what the hell am I watching? Like, right off the bat. And the movie kind of keeps that tone throughout. It knows what it is, at least. Unlike Piranha 2, which was just bad and ridiculous. This is ridiculous, but it's super entertaining. I mean, we literally get a scene with a piranha coming out of a girl's vagina onto a guy's dick, and then he proceeds to cut it off. You're like, what does this have to do with piranhas? Who thought of this when they're writing the screenplay? Piranhas coming up, busting docks all up, the boards off the docks and stuff. It's like, holy shit, man. It's just bonkers. We get David Hasselhoff in here, which is a whole lot of fun. We get a lot of parody of like Baywatch with him being a lifeguard there, but even himself knows he's not a lifeguard. It's very meta, and a lot of the humor is meta in this. I mean, just the idea of piranhas being loose at a water park is just completely insane bonkers, but it's all good schlocky fun, guys. Definitely not as good as the first remake, the 2010 remake. It doesn't reach those levels, especially in the story department, but as an entertaining film, it definitely does its job. Coming in at number 2, we got Piranha from 1978, the original. For once, I do not have the original in first place. It doesn't happen very often, but with this franchise, it does. This was made to be like a parody of Jaws, but I feel like it does enough to set itself apart from Jaws and be its own creature. Of course, this was directed by Joe Dante, I believe one of his first movies, and then he went on to do The Howling and Gremlins. So I feel like he was the perfect director for this tone, with a little bit of comedy and goofiness with the horror. I feel like he's great at doing that. And I like the whole reason for why these piranhas are in the river and such, with the army experimenting on them and changing their genetics and such to make them like these killing machines that can adapt to salt water or fresh water. We follow these real interesting characters that I've really grown to love. We got our main lead, the guy who's like this loner drunk who lives in this cabin, who helps this other woman who is looking for missing teens. And I feel like they got a great dynamic and a chemistry between each other. And I also like all the rest of the cast, even all the way to the summer camp side of things. I think that's a real cool side to the story. Reminds me of like the 80s camp slashers. We get real obnoxious counselors, a few of them, and then other ones are real nice. And our main girl here, Susie, the daughter of the drunk, she's at the camp. And I think that they're all great casting and great characters. We get lots of blood in here, some pretty good practical effects. And I love how the story takes place at the start of the river and we work our way down as the piranha are taking out everybody on their path. And there's really no way of stopping them unless you get ahead of them, right? So our main leads are trying to catch up to them and do whatever it is in their power to stop the piranha from eating everybody down the river and making it to the ocean. And in the end, this is just a classic summer flick where you can just turn off your brain and enjoy. And I usually like to watch this almost every summer, if not every second. But coming in the first place, we got Piranha 3D from 2010. This is a fun spring break remake of the original. It's very sleazy, much like 3 Double D was. One of our main plot points is about this crew going out to film a porno in the middle of the lake. So you can just imagine what type of movie this is. It's really like a man's movie, like tits and ass everywhere throughout, but hey, I ain't complaining. It's a raunchy horror comedy, but it totally embraces it and it knows what it is, and I think that's why it works so well. It's almost as if it's like an American Pie or like a National Lampoon's version of Piranha. And the piranhas themselves are very vicious and ferocious. They're prehistoric piranha that were trapped under the ground, but when the almost like this earthquake or the tectonic plates move under the lake, it releases the piranha because there was an underground lake underneath the lake. So these are millions of years old, these piranha, and they're just craziness. My one big negative though with the piranha is all the digital effects. They don't look terrible, but there's just something about digital effects that takes you away from the creatures from when they're practical. I know it's pretty much the only way to do it in this film, because how are you going to make a bunch of practical piranha fish go after someone, even if it's mechanical or not? Like, it's just really hard, especially with the budget they have. So I understand why they use the CGI, and it, like I said, it doesn't look terrible, like the worst I've seen, but it does take away a bit from the film. And while the cheap digital effects are unfortunate, when we do get practical effects, it looks awesome. Like when people are getting torn apart and stuff, like more the kills themselves and the flesh of the people being torn off looks very real. I mean, we get this girl like paragliding or whatever behind a boat and she's dipping in the water, and when she comes up she's missing like half her body, and obviously all the people in the tubes at the spring break festival getting eaten, their ass eaten basically by these piranhas. Or damn, the sheriff there when he got the boat propeller and they're all just coming in. It's bloody fun, a lot of carnage, a lot of jokes, a lot of tits and ass. Like I said, this is really the whole package. I just feel that this movie is the most rewatchable out of all these flicks, and I have a really good time with it every time. So it easily comes in at #1 for me. So there you have it, guys. There's my ranking of all the Piranha movies from worst to best. Definitely a big shift in quality from my worst to the best. Huge. But I enjoy most of these films. They're just fun creature features. Let me know what you think about these films down in the comments. What's your favorite, your least favorite? I'd love to hear it. We'll have a great discussion. You can also follow me on Letterboxd and Instagram. Both those links are in my description, guys. And until next time, thanks for watching.